The frozen Siberian wind howled as the alien dropship descended through Earth's atmosphere. Inside, 5 recruits from the Galactic Command huddled nervously. Their mission seemed simple: land on this primitive planet, survive its harsh conditions for 10 days and avoid contact with the native species. Commander Han's voice crackled through their communication devices. Remember your training. Earth is classified as a death world for good reason. The cold alone can kill you in hours. The HFY wildlife is aggressive, but the humans remain your biggest threat. Avoid them at all costs. Recruit Song checked his environmental suit one last time. The ship's scanners had detected no human settlements within 100 kilometers of their landing zone. Perfect isolation for their cold weather survival exercise. Touchdown in 30 seconds, announced the pilot. The ship landed with a soft thud on virgin snow. As the door opened, biting cold rushed in despite their advanced thermal gear. The landscape stretched white and endless, broken only by dark patches of dense forest. Beautiful, whispered Jin, the team's biologist. Hostile, but beautiful. Their orders were clear. First, establish a base camp, then conduct reconnaissance of the surrounding area. The team moved efficiently, setting up their shelter, a dome-like structure that blended with the snow. Their technology was far beyond Earth's capabilities, but Commander Han had insisted they rely on it as little as possible. The point was to survive the environment, not ignore it. 20 kilometers away, Mikhail Petrov sat in his small cabin, sipping tea. The old trapper had lived alone in the Siberian wilderness for 30 years. He noticed the strange light in the sky immediately. Having survived in this unforgiving land for decades, Mikhail had developed keen senses and remarkable intuition. Not a plane, he muttered to himself. Not a meteor either. Curiosity got the better of him. He pulled on his fur hat and heavy coat, grabbed his hunting rifle, and set out on his snowmobile. Whatever had fallen from the sky might be worth investigating. Back at the alien camp, the team had finished setting up their base. Song organized their supplies while Jin studied readings of local wildlife patterns. The team leader, Lieutenant Lee, planned their first excursion. We'll head north tomorrow, test our survival skills in that mountain range, Lee said, pointing to a holographic map. The scanner shows large predators there, perfect for our combat drills. The team rested, unaware they were being watched. Mikhail had approached cautiously, hiding his snowmobile behind a ridge and continuing on foot. Years of hunting had taught him to move silently, even in deep snow. Now, lying on his stomach at the top of a small hill, he observed the strange dome through his binoculars. Mikhail saw figures moving around the structure. They weren't human. Their proportions were wrong, their movements too fluid. He remained perfectly still, controlling his breathing despite the cold. This wasn't his first unusual encounter in the wilderness, but it was certainly the most extraordinary. As night fell, the alien team gathered inside their shelter. They activated a small heating unit and prepared their rations. The cold is worse than I expected, admitted Young, the youngest recruit. The briefing said humans survive here with primitive technology. How is that possible? Humans adapt, explained Jin. They've evolved on this death world. What's extreme to us is normal to them. Outside, Mikhail retreated silently. He needed to think. The government wouldn't believe him without proof, and approaching these beings directly seemed dangerous. Instead, he would watch and wait. The next morning, the alien team prepared for their expedition. They emerged from their shelter equipped with various scanning devices and defensive weapons. Remember, said Lee, we're here to test ourselves against this environment. Use weapons only if absolutely necessary. They set off toward the mountains, unaware that Mikhail had returned during the night and placed small hunting cameras around their camp. The old trapper followed them now, keeping a safe distance. His lifetime in the wilderness had taught him patience and caution. The team struggled through deep snow. Despite their advanced technology, Earth's gravity was slightly stronger than their homeworlds. The cold penetrated their suits more than expected, and the terrain proved challenging. The humans here track animals through this kind of snow, Jin observed, studying footprints of what appeared to be a wolf pack. Impressive skill for primitives. Mikhail, following their trail, smiled to himself. These visitors clearly underestimated humans. He continued tracking them, gathering information, planning his next move. Unlike the aliens, who saw Earth as merely a training ground, Mikhail understood this land intimately. It had been his home, his provider, and his teacher for decades. The aliens weren't just visitors to a hostile planet. They were unwitting prey who had wandered into the domain of a perfectly adapted predator, and Mikhail, with his weathered face and calculating eyes, had no intention of being the hunted. The humid air of the Amazon pressed down like a warm, wet blanket. Lieutenant Park wiped sweat from his forehead as he stepped off the rescue shuttle. Outpost 7 stood before him, its sleek metal walls strangely quiet. The base should have housed 12 elite trainees, but when the daily report stopped 3 days ago, Command dispatched Park's team immediately. Life signs? Park asked his scanner operator. None, sir. The base systems are fully operational, but I'm not detecting any of our people. Park frowned. This made no sense. The Amazon had been chosen specifically because it matched the hostile jungle environments their troops might face on contested worlds. Dangerous, yes, but nothing the trainees couldn't handle. Secure the perimeter, then we enter together, Park ordered. His 6-person team spread out, weapons ready. Park noticed something odd in the mud near the base entrance. Footprints. Human footprints. Small and barefoot. Inside, the mystery deepened. The base was pristine. Food remained in serving dishes. Equipment sat ready for use. Personal items lay exactly where they would be if the trainees had just stepped out for a moment. But 12 trained soldiers don't simply vanish. Sir, you need to see this, called June, the team's technology specialist. In the security center, June had accessed the surveillance feeds. Most showed nothing unusual until the systems failed. But one external camera had captured something just before the blackout. Shadowy figures moving through the dense foliage with remarkable precision. Zoom in, Park ordered. The image clarified to show humans in camouflage paint, moving almost invisibly between the trees. They carried simple weapons, spears, blowpipes, bows. Impossible, whispered Park. Our intelligence said no human settlements within hundreds of kilometers. Our intelligence was wrong, June replied simply. Park replayed the footage. The humans moved with extraordinary skill, perfectly blending with the environment. They approached the base from multiple directions simultaneously, clearly executing a planned operation. The nearest Earth military base is thousands of kilometers away, said Park. These aren't soldiers. No, agreed June. These are locals, indigenous people. Park's mind raced. How could humans with primitive technology possibly overcome 12 Galactic Command trainees with advanced weapons and defensive capabilities? Meanwhile, deep in the forest where no satellites could penetrate the thick canopy, Chief Taiho studied the strange device in his hands. It hummed softly. The 12 aliens lay unconscious on woven mats in a large communal hut, carefully guarded by warriors, with blow darts ready. They breathe like us, observed Taiho, but their skin is different. His people had first noticed the strange visitors 3 weeks ago, when huge metal birds descended from the sky. The tribe could have easily avoided them, but curiosity prevailed. They watched the aliens for days, learning their patterns and behaviors. They came to train for war, said Mina, the tribe's master hunter. They practiced fighting against our jungle animals, yet they did not see us watching, added another warrior. They have powerful weapons but weak senses. The tribe had debated what to do about these invaders. Kill them? Avoid them? In the end, Chief Taiho decided they should capture and study them, just as the aliens studied Earth's environment. The operation had been surprisingly simple. The tribe used their intimate knowledge of the jungle to approach unseen. They released specially prepared smoke into the ventilation system, a blend of plants that caused rapid unconsciousness, but no harm. Before the aliens could react, they were overcome. Back at Outpost 7, Park's investigation reached a dead end. The base's defensive systems had never activated. No alarms were triggered. Whatever happened, the trainees never saw it coming. "Sir," called a team member from outside, "you should see this." Park stepped outside to find the soldier pointing at a small wooden arrow stuck in a tree. A message was tied to it, written in crude but clear standard galactic language. "Your people are safe. How is this possible?" Park murmured. "Indigenous humans should have no knowledge of our language." What Park didn't know was that Chief Taiho's tribe had been watching Earth's visitors for generations. This wasn't their first encounter with beings from the stars. They had learned, adapted, and prepared. In the village, one of the aliens began to wake. Taiho approached carefully, offering water in a wooden cup. The alien looked around in confusion, seeing his comrade still unconscious nearby. "Where? How?" he stammered. "You came to learn about our jungle," Taiho said in simple words he had practiced. "Now you will learn about our people too." The alien's eyes widened in shock. "You speak my language?" Taiho smiled. "We learn quickly. You came to train for war on our land. We decided to make the training more educational." Park reported back to Galactic Command that night. "Sir, we've discovered evidence that the trainees were captured by local humans using rudimentary technology. These humans somehow neutralized our forces without casualties and left a message in our language." The commander's voice crackled through the communicator. "That's impossible. Earth humans don't have the capability to overcome our defensive systems." Park looked at the wooden arrow in his hand. "Sir, with respect, I believe we severely underestimated these humans. They don't need advanced technology. They have something perhaps more valuable: perfect adaptation to their environment. Find them, Lieutenant. Find our people." "Yes, sir," Park replied, knowing the task might be impossible. The Amazon contained thousands of square kilometers of dense jungle. The humans who took the trainees moved through it like ghosts. The hunters had become the hunted. Commander Han stared at the red Australian desert through the window of his command center. The sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant orange and purple. Unlike the dense Amazon or the frozen Siberian wilderness, the outback offered clear lines of sight in all directions. Nothing could approach without being seen. "This time will be different," Han said, more to himself than to his second-in-command, Major Sung. The compound they had built was impressive. A perimeter fence with motion sensors surrounded the main buildings. Automated defense turrets, set to stun, not kill, covered all approaches. Drones patrolled the skies. 60 elite trainees and 20 officers occupied the base, making it the largest Galactic Command presence on Earth. "The humans won't surprise us here," Han continued. "We'll complete our training mission and find out what happened to our missing personnel." Major Sung nodded, but looked uncertain. "Sir, we've lost contact with 3 outposts now. Perhaps we should reconsider." "No," Han interrupted. "Earth is perfect for our training needs. We just need better security. This desert gives us that advantage." On the 3rd day of operations, a group of trainees were 5 kilometers from base practicing navigation using only the stars and natural landmarks. Suddenly, a cloud of dust appeared on the horizon. As it drew closer, they saw it was an old truck bouncing over the rough terrain. Protocol was clear: avoid all contact with humans. The trainees quickly hid behind a large rock formation. But their curiosity got the better of them. One trainee, Jun, peered around the rocks to watch. The truck stopped nearby. A human male stepped out, stretching his back. He wore a wide-brimmed hat, dusty clothes, and heavy boots. His skin was deeply tanned and wrinkled from years under the harsh sun. He looked around, taking a drink from a water bottle. Then he did something unexpected. He looked directly at the rocks where the aliens were hiding. "G'day there," he called out in a friendly voice. "Beautiful evening, isn't it?" The trainees froze. How had he seen them? Their camouflage gear should have made them nearly invisible. After a moment of awkward silence, Jun stepped forward. Their language translators allowed basic communication. "Hello," Jun replied cautiously. The man smiled. Name's Doug. Just passing through. Don't mean to disturb you folks. He looked at Jun with calm interest, showing no surprise at the alien's appearance. You're not alarmed to see us? Jun asked. Doug chuckled. Mate, when you've lived in the outback as long as I have, you learn not to be surprised by much. He tipped his hat. Anyway, better keep moving. Got a long drive ahead. With that, he climbed back into his truck and drove away, leaving the confused trainees staring after him. When they reported the encounter to Commander Han, he was furious. You broke protocol. No contact with humans. Sir, Jun explained, he saw us first. He knew exactly where we were hiding. Han dismissed this as impossible. He got lucky. These primitives can't possibly detect our camouflage technology. That night, the desert temperature dropped dramatically. The base's heating systems worked at full capacity. Security checks ran normally until 0200 hours, when the power suddenly failed. Backup systems engaging, reported the security officer. But the backups failed too. The base went completely dark. In the command center, Han ordered everyone to battle stations. This is not a drill. Secure the perimeter. But in the total darkness, confusion spread. Night vision equipment malfunctioned. Communication devices went silent. Strange sounds came from all directions. Soft footsteps, whispered voices. Han felt something strike his neck. He reached up and pulled out a small dart. His legs went weak and he collapsed to the floor, conscious but unable to move. Through blurry vision, Han saw figures moving through the command center. Humans, wearing simple, night vision goggles and carrying basic weapons. They moved with military precision, placing identical darts in each alien they encountered. A face appeared above Han. It was Doug, the man from the desert. Sorry about this, mate, Doug said, not unkindly. But you folks picked the wrong planet. For your war games. Han tried to speak but couldn't move his mouth. Don't worry, Doug continued. The paralysis is temporary. We're just going to borrow you and some of your fancy gear for a little chat. Han wanted to ask how they had overcome the base's defenses, how they had neutralized technology that was centuries beyond Earth's capabilities, but he could only watch helplessly as Doug and others efficiently moved through the base. By sunrise, the humans had vanished, taking Commander Han, 5 other officers, and various pieces of technology with them. The remaining aliens recovered, slowly from the paralysis, confused and demoralized. What Han didn't know as he was carried through the desert night was that Doug was no ordinary outback dweller. He had served 20 years in Australia's Special Air Service Regiment before retiring to the outback. When strange lights and unusual activity were reported months ago, a loose network of veterans, farmers, and indigenous trackers had formed to investigate. They had been watching the aliens for weeks, studying their technology, learning their patterns. The truck encounter had been planned, a way to get close and plant a tiny EMP device that would disable the base's power systems. Deep. In the desert, in an underground bunker built during the Cold War, Doug and his team prepared to question their extraterrestrial guests. Welcome to Earth, Doug said to the still-dazed Commander Han. Time for us to have a proper conversation about why you're really here. General Min stood before the United Nations Security Council in a closed emergency session. On screens behind him, satellite images showed the 3 alien outposts that had been established on Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, 6 months ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected unusual activity on the dark side of the moon. 3 weeks later, the first alien craft entered Earth's atmosphere and landed in Siberia. The room remained silent. The world's most powerful leaders had been briefed individually, but this was their first collective meeting on the situation. Our initial response was to observe without engagement, Min continued. We now have confirmed alien bases in Siberia, the Amazon and the Australian outback. Their technology is estimated to be at least 2 centuries beyond our own. A hand raised. The American representative spoke up. Why haven't they contacted us directly? What do they want? Min clicked to the next slide showing thermal images of alien figures conducting what appeared to be military drills. They appear to be using Earth as a training ground. Our analysts believe they selected remote, harsh environments specifically to challenge their personnel. They are actively avoiding populated areas and seem to consider us primitive." The room buzzed with murmurs. The Russian representative stood. "This is unacceptable. They cannot use our planet without permission." Min raised a hand for silence. "We agree, but a direct military response would be futile given their technological advantages. Instead, we implemented Operation Mirror." He clicked to a new slide showing the faces of those leading the operation. A weathered Siberian trapper, an indigenous Amazon tribal leader, an Australian outback veteran. We recruited individuals intimately familiar with these environments, people who know how to survive where these aliens are training. Their mission was simple: turn the aliens' training exercise into a real test by capturing them using only local resources and knowledge. The British representative looked skeptical. "You're saying ordinary humans captured beings with technology centuries beyond ours?" Min smiled slightly. "Not ordinary humans. Specialists who have spent lifetimes mastering survival in Earth's most extreme environments. And yes, they succeeded spectacularly." The next slide showed captured alien equipment and the secure facilities where alien prisoners were being held. All captives are being treated according to Geneva Convention standards. They receive proper nutrition, medical care, and dignified treatment, but they are being thoroughly questioned and their technology studied. In a secure facility beneath, the Swiss Alps Commander Han sat across from Dr. Su, a linguistic specialist. Unlike his early interrogations, this was more like a conversation. "I still don't understand," Han said. "How did you overcome our security systems?" Dr. Su smiled. "Your technology assumes certain physical limitations, but humans evolved on what you call a Deathworld. We're used to adapting, improvising. Doug's team used electromagnetic pulse devices built from components they found in ordinary electronics." Hanno shook his head in disbelief. "And the Amazon team?" "Natural compounds, plants with properties your sensors couldn't detect. The rainforest contains thousands of species with chemical properties we're still discovering ourselves." Meanwhile, in a laboratory in Seoul, scientists carefully dismantled alien communication devices. Young researchers worked day and night to understand the technology. Progress was slow but steady. Dr. Choi, the team leader, made a breakthrough when she recognized patterns in the quantum communication array that resembled Earth's own experimental systems, just far more advanced. "It's like they took our theoretical models and perfected them," she explained to her team. "The principles are similar, just executed with materials and precision we haven't achieved yet." After 3 weeks of intensive work, they managed to modify the device to send a simple message. The real challenge was determining where to send it. Back in the UN meeting, General Min reached the most critical part of his briefing. "Yesterday, using adapted alien technology, we sent a message to what we believe is their command structure. The message was simple: we are willing to return all personnel and negotiate a formal relationship, but Earth must be recognized as sovereign territory." The Japanese representative looked concerned. "And if they respond with force?" "We've prepared contingencies," Min replied. "But our assessment suggests they're not conquerors. They appear to be a structured, law-abiding civilization. They just didn't consider us advanced enough to notice them." In deep space aboard the Galactic Command vessel Harmony, Admiral Kim stared in disbelief at the message on his screen. It was in perfect standard protocol format, a diplomatic communication that should have been impossible for Earth to produce. "They captured our training teams," his aide explained, "and apparently reverse-engineered our communication technology." Kim read the message again. The humans weren't demanding the aliens leave Earth forever. They weren't threatening war. They simply wanted recognition and respect, the same courtesy extended to any sovereign world in the galactic community. "They adapted our technology in weeks," Kim said quietly. "Do you understand what that means? It took other species generations to do the same." He turned to his communication officer. "Prepare a response. Inform the Council. We may have discovered something extraordinary, a species that turns disadvantage into strength." In Switzerland, Han felt a strange sense of pride as he continued his conversations with Dr. Su. These humans, whom he had dismissed as primitive, had not only captured his personnel but were now speaking directly to Galactic Command. And they had done it all using the very training exercises Han had designed to challenge his troops. "Your people learn quickly," Han admitted. Dr. Su smiled. "On a Deathworld, Commander, those who don't learn quickly don't survive." The grand chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with soft blue light. 500 representatives from across the galaxy sat in curved rows. Admiral Kim stood at the center, his uniform perfectly pressed despite his exhaustion. "Honored council members," Kim began, "I present my final report on the Earth incident." Behind him, large screens showed images of Earth, blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses. Such a simple planet, yet now the source of the greatest diplomatic crisis in decades. Commander Han stood nearby, his posture stiff. He faced serious punishment for the failed training program. Yet as the hearing progressed, he felt an odd sense of accomplishment beneath his shame. "The facts are these," continued Admiral Kim. "Commander Han established training outposts on Earth, believing its harsh environments would challenge our recruits. We classified Earth as a primitive death world, dangerous but inhabited by a pre-space civilization of limited concern." The Admiral paused, touching a control that changed the display to show images of the captured Galactic Command personnel and equipment. "We were wrong," he said simply. "Humans did not merely observe our presence. They studied us, tracked us, and systematically captured our personnel, all without causing a single casualty." Murmurs filled the chamber. A council member from the Rigel system stood. "How could primitives overcome our technology?" "They are not primitives," Kim corrected. "They are Deathworld survivors. Their planet's extreme conditions forced them to become master adapters. While technologically behind us, their problem-solving abilities are extraordinary." Kim showed footage of Doug's team disabling the Australian base, the Amazon tribe's perfect stealth approach, and the Siberian trapper's tracking skills. "Most concerning," Kim continued, "humans reverse-engineered our communication technology. Within weeks, they contacted us directly using our own protocols, something that should have been impossible." The chamber erupted in concerned voices. The council leader called for order with 3 sharp taps of her ceremonial staff. "What did these humans demand?" she asked. "Nothing unreasonable," Kim replied. "The return of their territorial sovereignty, recognition of their rights, a proper diplomatic relationship rather than being treated as training grounds." Commander Han stepped forward when prompted. "Council members," he said, voice steady despite his nervousness. "I accept responsibility for misjudging the human species. I believed they would not notice our small outposts in remote regions. I was wrong." An elder council member, scales glinting in the light, leaned forward. "Tell us, Commander. You spent time with these humans during your captivity. What is your assessment of them?" Han considered his words carefully. "They are unlike any species we've encountered. They don't just survive their harsh world. They thrive in it. The Australian who captured me could track invisible footprints across bare rock. The Amazon tribe created medications from plants that bypassed our medical scans." He paused, then added, "Most importantly, they showed restraint. They could have killed us easily, but chose not to. They treated us with respect even as prisoners." The council debated for hours. Some members argued for cutting all contact with Earth permanently. Others suggested immediate diplomatic relations. A few even proposed military containment, an idea quickly rejected. Finally, the council leader called for a vote. The results appeared on the main screen moments later. "It is decided," she announced. "Earth will be reclassified from primitive Deathworld to Category 1 Prohibited Contact Zone. All military and training operations on or near Earth will cease immediately. We will establish a monitoring perimeter, but avoid direct contact for 50 standard years, allowing humans time to develop at their natural pace." She looked directly at Commander Han. "As for your punishment, Commander, the Council has decided. You will serve as our primary human specialist. Your new mission is to prepare our diplomatic corps for the day when formal contact becomes necessary." Han bowed deeply, surprised. It was not punishment, but opportunity. As the session ended, Admiral, Kim and Han walked together through the grand hallway. "You should feel proud," Kim said quietly. "Your mistake may have been the most valuable discovery in recent history." "Sir, we've grown comfortable, Commander, too reliant on our technology. These humans reminded us of something important, that intelligence and adaptability can overcome superior technology, a lesson we once knew but had forgotten." Han nodded slowly. "The humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention." Their harsh world forced them to become problem solvers. Every day was survival training for them. Later, alone in his quarters, Han reviewed the final treaty being sent to Earth. The terms were generous: recognition of Earth's sovereignty, a non-aggression pact, and the promise of formal diplomatic relations when humans developed their own interstellar travel. Attached was a personal message from the Council leader to Earth's United Nations. "We regret our unauthorized use of your planet for training purposes. Your response demonstrated qualities we greatly respect. We look forward to welcoming Earth as an equal partner in the